did you focus on? What were your first couple years like? How did you grow the business? Obviously, you dove into a little bit of the investing side, you said, but kind of walk me through you starting the business and growing it and just your mindset.
Um, well, the biggest thing is that a lot of or I guess the newer agents don't realize is that people that already know them are going to be the ones that support them the most. So that was my biggest driving, whether it was reaching out to people that I knew from high school or even grade school or, that I worked with previously at the Limited. I mean, it was almost digging and spending hours. What are their addresses? How do I add them to my mailing list? What type of marketing am I going to do that's not, breaking the bank for somebody that's brand new? But at the same time, I was very fortunate that I had saved, money and didn't have to worry about not being able to eat that week if I mailed out, 500 postcards either. But I constantly, and I guess I didn't even mention this, but I do own my office. So there are, I think 19 realtors now technically under me. I'm just a manager. I don't have my broker's license, but I also train and teach all of the new agents here. And that is usually one of the biggest and first things that I tell them.
Yeah.
How many people do you already have in your contact management software? And how can you continue to grow that? And it's not just doing it once, it's doing it almost weekly, if you really can. And there are numbers of way to break that down to figure out, oh, I want to have, 10 closings my first year. Well, you might have to have, 600 contacts in your database and be asking them for referrals in order to hit those numbers.
Yeah.
So it's, a lot of people don't dive in. I mean, now it's goal planning for 24, everybody's talking about that. And honestly, I admit I have not gone through. I always analyze my business towards the end of the year. Where did my clients come from? Was it advertising? Was it marketing? My business is probably 90 some percent referral based, because I do not let my clients forget who I am, I guess is the biggest thing. When back 19 years ago, I decided that my slogan was going to be building clients for life. And I won't ever, and I know some of them have moved out of state and I can't keep in touch with all of them, but I still do Christmas gifts. I still do our holiday gifts. I still do, Ohio State magnets every season. I still do end of the year calendars. I try to write thank you, happy birthday cards. I mean, it seems very daunting to somebody new that's like, how am I going to keep up with all this? Well, after a while and so many people in your database, you realize when you have to hire somebody to help you do it. So that's kind of where I was at. I've had an assistant now for about, I think, 6 years. So that was a big turning point in my business.
How did you change the narrative and the view of Amy from the Limited to Amy, the real estate agent and professional? Because I think some agents struggle with that as well, especially with their sphere of influence.
Yeah.
Now, I try to tell agents like you have to position yourself as the expert advisor when it comes to real estate. And sometimes when you have another career going on at the same time,
Right.
those individuals look at you as what they know you as, not what you're trying to be.
Yeah.
Right. And even if you're part-time in real estate, you need to switch the mindset of I'm actually full-time in real estate, but part-time in my current job. So how did you navigate those? And second part of that is
I
reaching
think
out
the
to those
biggest thing was
people.
education, to be honest, because the more classes you can take. I got my SRS and my ABR pretty young in my career, and honestly, the smarter and more educated you can be, the more people are going to trust you and believe that you know what you're doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And since then, I've done my GRI and a few other things, but honestly, flipping homes really helped me because I can go through a home and point out probably 15 things that most other agents won't even know what they're looking at or won't even know what they are. And I am constantly preaching to my new agents that once you have stopped learning, you've stopped your business, you've stopped your career, because there's always something new to learn. There's always something that's going to change, with homestead taxes and how that changed, 5 years ago or whatever. There's just always something new that you need to add to your tool belt as to why you can continue to remain a value add to
Yeah.
any of your clients, whether they're buyers or sellers or, whatever their current life situation is.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think right now, a lot of people, a lot of agents are saying, well, no one's selling, no one's buying, right? Interest rates are too high. And, I keep trying to push my agents to reach out to your database and talk about the power of a home equity line of credit. And I bet out of your database, there's probably a handful of people that would be interested in learning how to leverage that into a rental property or into an investment property or, whatever the case may be. And you might be able to get a couple more transactions out of that database that you didn't think was possible because
Right.
you understand what equity means and how to leverage that. Because the average homeowner doesn't know, right? Like, in
Right.
my opinion.
Right.